Diaries of a Madman. Chapter 187. Part 4 of 5. So how shall we pass the time? Aqua happily asked after about a minute of silence. I dunno, how about quietly? Would you like me to sing a soothing hymn? No? Would you like to bimbo mode? I would not, no. Then I say we shall pass the time quietly. She sighed and shut her whore mouth. About maybe 15 minutes of soaking, Doppel let herself back in, carrying a platter with a single glass on it. I've brought you a drink, my lady, she said, kneeling down to set it next to the tub. I hope you don't mind, but I opened that box with all the threats on it. I don't mind at all, I said, sipping on the tasty and fairly harsh booze. Nothing wrong with breaking out the good stuff for my biggest victory ever. I assumed you'd want to celebrate. How's it feel to be the most powerful woman in Equestria, my lady? Honestly? It feels pretty fucking amazing. It would feel a lot better with that tongue somewhere warmer, though. I live to serve at your whim, she huskily replied, easily slipping out of that skimpy-made outfit. Between the liquor, the heat, and her lovely tongue, I simply melted into the bath. It was totes amazeballs. When I regained my corporeal form and figured out how to walk again, I finally sighed and said, I guess I can't just stay in here forever. But isn't it nice and cozy? My lusty changeling maid asked from her perch in my lap. It is, but we only have so much time before everyone else gets here. Which is about how long, again? I have no idea, she said with a shrug. Not you. Aqua. Oh, am I allowed to talk again? I thought I was still under threat of bimbo mode. You know that's just gonna make me put you in bimbo mode, right? She sighed in disgust. So, ETA. 10. 10 what? 9. What? 8. Aqua, you have literally no time left. That's all I had time to say before my filly teleported above the tub. Gravity immediately took over and Taya fell into the water, sending soapy suds everywhere. Super. Mommy, my psychotic little horse squealed, hugging me around Doppel. So yeah, we're kinda here now, Aqua said. So. Taya. It's super nice to see you and all, but did you really have to teleport in here? I wanted to hug you. That was a yes or no question. Then yes. I had to teleport in here to hug you. You coulda walked. Ew. What am I, a peasant? Now how about a tummy rub, mommy? Or maybe an ear scratch? Ooh, or both. We were actually just getting out, I said. You're free to enjoy the tub, though. Well, how can I enjoy it if you're not in it? Try the dials, I said, picking her up and scooching her over to one side. Sit here. See this? I grabbed one of the dials and set it on turbo. She squeaked, but quickly sighed as the jets worked their magic. They can do all kinds of shit. Go nuts. Just be careful. What do you mean, be careful? Is there a setting on there for shred or something? There are some things a mother just can't say to her daughter. For those, you need a slutty shameless maid. Doppel. If you prop yourself up at some weird angle to let the jets get you off, make sure you don't slip and crack your skull. I finally pulled myself out of the tub. Doppel cleared her throat. And, maybe don't start on turbo. Definitely don't start on turbo, I said. So wait, you're saying I can? Oh. You know, I think I will enjoy the tub, mommy. Cool seas. Doppel, you wanna? Right. My maid pulled herself out of the bath, then flashed back into a changeling. That instantly dried her off, luckily for her. One moment, my lady, she said, fluttering over to one of the cabinets. She pulled out a few towels and flew over to me with a grin. Her hooves wrapped all my hair into one towel, then used another to pat me dry. I tried taking one and doing it myself, but she slapped my hand away. So why did she get belly rubs as a human? Taya asked. You didn't give me one. How long were you watching, again? I figured it was only fair, I said with a shrug. Least I could do after everything she did to spoil me. What about everything I do to spoil you? Taya asked. Nothing you do can ever spoil me as much as she can, I said. This is Doppel we're talking about. Ugh, whatever. But I'm cuddling with you all night. We'll see. Doppel. You're dry, my lady. Then have fun in the tub, Taya. Be sure to get squeaky clean. Oh, I will, she said with a giggle. And I'll be thinking of cuddling with you the whole time. Wow, super creepy. K. I walked out. Doppel hastily followed, pulling the door shut. So with the ship here, there's a pretty sizable group of peeps out in the house. Including possibly a griffin princess. Oh great, that bitch is back. Wow, rude. Remind me about the time she commented on how changelings sound when we're boiled alive. Why? You'd just get angry again. Point is, she might be here and she might be staying a few nights. Doppel sighed and rolled her eyes. You're sleeping with her, aren't you? She may not be spending every night in her room. Of course. Can I convince you to go to her room instead? Yes. Why? Her bed is smaller. Cleaning the sheets is considerably easier. I'll see what I can do about keeping the fun in the tub. Speaking of, we heard a very quickly muffled moan from the bathroom. So let's get dressed. Just like that, I had my new outfit laid out for me. It was a frilly pink dress with ribbons and lace everywhere. Wow! So that's what you think I should wear while relaxing around the house? While entertaining a princess? I don't see why not. I didn't either, honestly. And it had been a little while since I looked cute, so it meant I could surprise everybody for easy giggles. I dropped the towels and slid into the awful thing. Speaking of entertaining a princess, would you be interested in taking a shot at her? I might. It's something I will consider. No hurry. With me all dressed up and Taya presumably just waiting for us to leave so she could get weird, we finally dipped. Doppel immediately flew off to who knows where, leaving me to fend for myself. That changed pretty quickly when a big bimbo swallowed me whole. It's wonderful to see you again, my lovely little lady. Aqua sweetly said as she cuddled me. And you look so cute. I know, isn't it great? So give me a sit rep. What am I about to walk into? A huge nest of crazy hormonal bitches. Great, so just another normal day. She finally started carrying me downstairs. And was there any blowback from leaving the meeting the way I did? Aside from Mooney accusing the others of ruining her chance of getting to speak with you, no. Although I don't think anyone was all too happy. Then they shouldn't have been shitty. I wanted to say it aloud, but we were finally where peeps might hear me. And as it so happened, I was able to hear some other peeps. When we got to the sunroom, we found that it was occupied by a surprising number of people. Silver Quill was in a corner of her own, surrounded by all her nerd shit. Gilda, Brooke, Blossom, and Fleur were at the other corner. What up, bitches? I said with a nod. Silver didn't even notice, so Aqua started scooting me on over to the cool kids table. Is that how you greet your high-ranking guests and close friends? Fleur asked. Hey, you just heard me. So how was the flight in? Nerve-wracking. Gilda said. After you stormed off, we were worried about what you might do with Celestia. Why would you be worried about it? I got my way. Horlistia is out. Purelistia is in. Well, until you get your hands on her, Brooke said. I actually had to turn her down already. Apparently Flo and I didn't agree on what settings to use. So it is done, then? Fleur asked. Oh yeah, she's gone. We took plenty of pictures to share with everyone, too. You took pictures? Blossom asked. Of, what? Mostly the look on her stupid face, I said. Man, let me tell you, it was almost worth it. Why almost? Brooke asked. Because not even the knowledge that she's finally dead is enough to give back everything she took from me. But at least in the end, I finally got to take just a little bit more. It is relieving to know that Tyrant is dead, Gilda sighed. And my brother is most eager to see you again, Nav. He's quite taken by you, it seems. Yet, I had a feeling I made an impression on him. You probably besotted the poor fool, Fleur sighed, shaking her head. I doubt it, Gilda said. There's no way he would have given me his blessing if he was in love with her. His blessing for what? I ask. Marriage, of course. Nav and I are to be wed. I'm sorry, what now? Fleur asked. Yeah, I'm kinda confused about that one, too, I said. Well, we're to be wed as soon as you stop stalling and just say yes. Step in line, Blossom said. Everyone and their mother is after Nav's cooch. Hey, if your mom is still kicking, give her my address, I said. That kinda cuteness has to be genetic. And so is your kind, she replied, looking me up and down. That feminine little body is just perfect for you, isn't it? I mean, it gets the job done. How are those gems treating you? Extremely well. No headache and I'm wide awake. Awesome. Will probs have a steady supply of them soon? A steady supply, of blood gems? Fleur asked. Most of them come from Tartarus. If we capture Tartarus, we get the gems. And there's no telling what that psychopath pet of yours may do, either, Blossom said. Which one? I have 3 or 4 who fit that definition. Sorry, specifically the evil ex-princess bitch who had me turned into an undead abomination. Then yes, there's no telling what number of blood gems Luna might decide to go and acquire on her own. I'll do my best to keep her reined in. Perhaps a leash would do the trick, Blossom said with a smirk. And maybe a muzzle. Maybe in your weird, pervy dreams. A pet princess is much more fun than a pet ex-princess. And that put all eyes on my most recent conquest. What? I'm much more fun than that creepy horse. And you'd look cuter with a leash, I said, scratching the back of her neck. Ooh. I'll happily accept a leash if it's attached to the ring on your hand. Fleur cringed just a little and Blossom rolled her eyes. Desperation is unbecoming of a princess, Aqua said. And many find it an unattractive quality. Fucking burn. And forcefully injecting yourself into the one who saved you and all your sisters is even less attractive, Brooke replied. I am not the one trying to be an attractive mate, Aqua said. Though if I was, I'm proud to say that my lady has granted me an extremely attractive body. Bimbos don't actually do it for me, I said with a shrug. I prefer smaller, cuter chicks. Though there is definitely something to be said for all that jiggle. I mostly just do it to humiliate you. And I am not desperate, Gilda said. I'm just very certain in my decision. In your decision? I said, crossing my arms. Yes. Now all I must do is wait for you to make the right choice. Unfortunately, I'm impatient. I'm confident that you'll find some way to cope, I said, tousling her feathers. Getting held by Aqua was starting to get old, so I finally had her place me in the seat next to my favorite vamp horse. So, now that Celestia's out of the way, what should be next on our agenda? Apparently planning a war, Fleur sarcastically replied. No, that'll come next, I said. I actually already know the answer to that question, so I don't know why I ask. Next on our agenda is forming an academy. I was planning on doing it at my old house near the Everfree. I was hoping to speak to Mooney about getting some help building it up, but I was bullied into leaving early. There are some preparations to make before we break ground, so I still have time to ask. Skipping over that obvious bait, I'd like to ask what this academy will be teaching, Fleur said. You're fully welcome to, I said with a nod. Fleur paused for a few seconds before lifting a hoof to her temple and sighing and muttering something under her breath. What will the academy be teaching? She finally asked, dropping her hoof. I haven't decided the full curriculum yet. Definitely rune working, definitely monster hunting, and definitely several kinds of sciences. I'll be slipping them the occasional human design with suggestions for how to possibly power it indefinitely with magic. Why monster hunting? Blossom asked. Because I want to try to clear the Everfree of monsters. Once the first class is done, I plan to form an order of monster hunters. There are some monstrously dangerous things out there that need to be exterminated. We need a force dedicated to doing so. There is a force in the equestrian army that exterminates monsters, Blossom said. But they only act defensively. They don't actively hunt. I can think of several griffins who might be interested in taking such a course, Gilda said. I was hoping we could work out some kind of exchange student program, I said. So students can take similar classes in different academies to get some experience with other cultures. A lot of the animosity I see coming between each race usually stems from ignorance. Agreed, Fleur said with a nod. I feel like we could use the pageant to advertise these academies. I was planning on it, Gilda said. And nobody could possibly turn down an invitation from the great and beautiful Lady Navarone herself, all perfectly dolled up. Definitely true, Fleur said, looking me over. That dress is just delightful, Navi. Good. I had a feeling you'd all like it. Apparently Rarity and Doppel are both looking forward to frillying me up. I'm also quite looking forward to it. Aqua said with a giggle. Must you constantly provoke her? Brooke asked. You know it can only end poorly. I am trying to teach Nav by example. She always constantly provokes others and it rarely ends well, yet she never seems to learn her lesson. With luck, my provocations will teach her. You should order her to stop provoking you, Gilda said. Then I couldn't punish her as much. If anybody has any suggestions for something worse than bimbo mode, I'm all ears. BDSM mode. Fleur said. You heard the mare, I said, looking over at Aqua. She turned bright yellow as her body was covered in watery ropes. Soon enough, she was properly bound and gagged, looking all kinds of slutty. Brooke actually flinched. Aqua looked my way with silent, watery eyes. All right, that's a little too much. Back to bimbo mode. She actually sighed in relief as she shifted back to her marginally less whorish look. We'll brainstorm options together, later. Do you have any ideas for professors for your academy yet? Blossom asked. A few. I don't really know too many scholars or academics, but I do know a monster hunter or two. I'm hoping the offer of a lot of gold will bring in smart people. That, and the ability to be a part of the greatest revolution of knowledge this world has ever seen, Gilda said. My people call that period the Enlightenment, I said. When we began elevating ourselves out of superstition and started learning more about the world around us. It was also during this time that we learned that the planet revolves around the sun, not the other way around. That will be a huge blow to Celestia's power, Blossom said. We will need to be ready to deal with the aftershocks. With luck, by that point, she'll be expendable anyway, I said. Killing her would be super easy with Aqua and Flo in her head. I believe I know where to begin looking for scholars, Fleur said. Though I imagine you mostly want inventors. That would be preferable, I said. Most of what I want to teach is practical stuff. Metalworking, welding, shipbuilding, useful sciences. Basically, shit that we can use to kickstart an enlightenment using runic golems, airships, and magically powered inventions. And monster hunting, of course. Like the golem you used at the fort? Fleur asked. I'm going to be making some like that for the Tartarus War, but I'd like to make some for construction as well. I feel like one of those things could lift a fuck ton of weight and work tirelessly. Imagine a construction crew that can work for months at a time without stopping. We could build considerably more railroad tracks all across the country, as well as regular roads. If we can give them pickaxes, we could literally level mountains. Well, I'm sold, Blossom said. Why do you want more airships? Trade. A regular boat can take a month or more to cross the ocean. Our airship takes about a week or two. This will allow captains to make twice as many trips. There are already some airships out there, but if I can get golems to make airships and use the nanomachines to constantly grow trees, I can very quickly make ships for basically free and then hire crews to fly them. That's ambitious, Fleur said. This is Navarone we're talking about, Brooke said. This is just the tip of a very large iceberg. Are you going to tell them about the necromancy idea? Gilda asked. I wasn't planning on it, no, I replied. What necromancy idea? Blossom slowly asked. Gosh darn it. Before I realized how effective the golems were, I had an idea to use skeletons to harvest crops. As long as they're kept under control, which is actually surprisingly easy, they're completely harmless. That would allow 1 or 2 unicorns to farm a fairly huge amount of fields with a minimal amount of oversight and effort. They could then place the harvested crops on a teleport circle to send them to a central hub where they could be processed and distributed. Now, I feel like a few golems made of the right materials could do it instead. The skeleton idea does have merit, though, Blossom said. An army of skeletal squirrels could gnaw the stems of every apple in a tree in seconds. Skeletal diamond dogs could use scythes to harvest grain. Some things might be harder to harvest than others, though. Yet, it was hardly a perfect solution. I'm sure we'll figure something out eventually. So what are your plans while in Canterlot? Blossom asked. I need to go to Ponyville either sometime tonight or tomorrow morning to talk to the peeps living in my pad. I need to let them know that they might want to start looking for somewhere else to go. Around noon or so tomorrow, I plan to be put into a coma and then have my wings and tail chopped off. After I get out of the coma, I'll take stock and see how things are going. I'll decide what to do from there. Okay, you've mentioned this coma more than once, Fleur said. I would like to know what exactly it is and why exactly you're doing it. I'd also like to know why you're dismembering yourself, Blossom said. I'll answer the dismembering one first. Discord came to visit while we were in the process of brainwashing Celestia. He told me that he was changing my body over time to look more like him, and if the transformation finished before I got my soul, I would become his wife for eternity. So cutting off the offending parts will be a stopgap. I'll be doing it in Athena's realm, so Discord should have no way to influence what happens to my body. That is, utterly horrifying, Fleur said. If you marry me first, he can't marry you. Gilda said. I don't think that would stop him. Now, the coma is induced by a spell that helps you figure out who you truly are. My mind has been frayed. I don't see any need to list what I've been through, but it's enough that I need some kind of hard reset. This coma should do it. I'm not sure how I'll feel or act after I get out of it, but whatever I guess. Is it dangerous? Fleur asked. Technically. If I go in alone, I could be trapped in the coma forever. If someone else goes in with me, they can pull me out. Then I will go with you, Blossom said. Nope, someone already called dibs. I'm going to go it alone for up to 3 weeks. If I don't come out by then, someone will come and get me. That will put you very close to the pageant, Fleur said. It's scheduled to begin in slightly over a month. Good, that means I'll have less time to dread it. Blossom finally looked outside, where it was starting to get dark. I'm going to need to head out pretty soon to get ready for work. I reached over and bopped her on the nose. You just want to abandon us? Bop me again. I did so with a grin. She gasped in surprise. I felt that. Wait, What? I reached over and palmed her cheek. Her head actually leaned into it and she sighed. It's warm. I guess the blood gems let you feel another's touch, Fleur said. That means it's time for a belly rub, I said. Blossom pulled away from my hand and glared at me. Don't even think about it. Oh come on. Spoil yourself a little. You really should, Fleur said with a nod. You won't regret it. Nav's hands are so wonderful and she's oh so tender with my tummy, Gilda sighed. I'll make you a deal, Blossom slowly said. If I don't like it, you never ask again. If I do like it, well, I guess I'll let you do it again. Deal. I immediately replied. Fleur snatched her up with magic and started trotting off to the living room. Gilda and I followed, leaving the two elementals with Silver. This is really unnecessary, Blossom said as she was carted through the air. I know, but this way you can't get cold hooves, Fleur said. When we got to the living room, I sat on the couch. Fleur set the nervous-looking Vampani in my lap. Is your body ready? I asked, placing my rubbing hand in prime position. Don't say it like that. What is wrong with you? A whole host of things. Well, I am ready, so. The instant my hand connected, her eyes opened wide. When I started rubbing, they went lidded. Oh my! Called it, I said. Who could possibly resist? Gilda asked with a smirk. A camera flashed from in front of us, held up by Fleur's magic. She giggled and made the camera disappear. That's one for the scrapbooks. I really don't think a vampire will show up in a photo, I said. Just in case, Fleur replied with a shrug. Where have these hands been all my unlife? Blossom whispered, finally letting her eyes ease shut. Right here, waiting for consent, I said, moving my other hand to scratch at her ears. She gasped, but let me do my thing. That is one content little pony, Gilda said. She really is cute. I wish we could make her compete in the pageant, I said. I'd love to see her dressed up all cute again. I'd be happy to be cute for you, Navi. Blossom said. Especially if it means more belly rubs. That's the spirit. I don't want to keep you all night, though. I know you said you needed to leave soon. Just like that, I pulled my hand back. Blossom's eyes immediately slammed wide open and she practically flew off my lap. What did you do to me? Rubbed your belly. You did something. Some kind of magic. There's no way it could ever feel like that. Fleur giggled and hugged Blossom. You've just experienced your first belly rub, dear. It's okay to be confused. Gilda was already falling into my lap for her turn, so Fleur waved a hoof at us. Just watch. As soon as my hand hit Gilda's belly, she started purring softly. It's just the way of the world. But I said. I said I'd be happy to be cute for her. Well, of course, Fleur said. Being cute means you're more likely to get more belly rubs. Just look at our princess. See how adorable she looks right now. I don't understand. You don't have to understand, I said. You definitely enjoyed it, so I'll be rubbing it again someday. Don't worry, you'll probably be craving it soon. This is unbelievable. How is this any more unbelievable than anything else about me? I ask. It's not, Fleur said. Blossom is just cranky that she looked all cuddly and satisfied in front of us. We all know you're a cutie pie, I said. You don't have to show off how tough you are. Blossom sighed and shook her head. Whatever. I guess I'll be partaking in more of them later. For now, I need to head out. My shift begins soon. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to join you, Fleur said. I want to get home before dark. I wouldn't mind at all. We definitely need to come up with ways to make Nav suffer now. Why? I ask. I just showed you the joys of belly rubs. You should be thankful. That devilry is unnatural. Well, so am I said. Remember, discord created me. You need to learn to take the good with the bad, silly. And belly rubs are the ultimate good, Fleur said. Look at that satisfied smile on her face. Well, I can't leave without my first real hug, Blossom said. That's true, I said, dumping the princess off my lap. She looked pretty upset about it, but that was acceptable. Blossom jumped up to hug me as soon as I stood, pressing her cold corpse against my warm body. It feels so warm. Good. That's how hugs are supposed to feel. I wonder how sex would feel. That is an interesting question. She finally pulled back with a grin. As always, seeing you was an experience. Good. Let me know when you start craving the rubs. I suppose I shall see you in a few weeks, Nav, Fleur said, taking Blossom's place against me. It's hard to believe you've been coming and going so much. Yeah, it's been inconvenient. I've been having fun, though, and I suppose that's all that really matters in the end. At least you'll need to be here a while for the pageant, Blossom said. Maybe I can eat another blood gem and we can figure out what I can and can't feel. Sounds fun to me, I said. Fleur finally reluctantly pulled away. It's a shame. I haven't even gotten a turn with you since you returned. It just means you'll have more time to think of something to try, I said. Oh, I already have quite the list. I'm looking forward to more afternoon luncheons. So am I. Well, I shan't hold up the captain. Shall we, Blossom? Let's. Gilda and I followed them out to the main hall, where they finally left. End of part 4.